David wrote Messi's name on a plastic jersey, but player Nick trampled it with his feet. Nick sneered at David's short stature, but instead of sympathizing with David, the people around him laughed at him. At that moment, David stood up and retorted that although he was short, he was very skilled. At that moment, the coach called the players onto the field because the game was about to begin. David warmed up, put on his homemade plastic jersey, and excitedly wanted to join the game, but the coach blocked him at the door because he saw that David didn't know how to play soccer, so he ruthlessly locked him out. Moments later, the game finally began. The opposing team was extremely strong. Their first attack was flawlessly coordinated and easily scored the first goal. This left the coach feeling frustrated. The opponents then accelerated their pace and scored another goal under intense pressure. As the team captain, Nick was anxious but still encouraged everyone not to give up. David, who was blocked outside the gate, was as anxious as an ant on a hot pan, but reality was cruel. The opponents broke through their defense again and expanded the score to 3-0. At this point, the first half of the game had ended. The coach re-strategized with the players and encouraged them to stay calm, as there was still a chance to win the game. David pleaded with the coach to let him play, but the coach had no interest in listening to him. As the whistle blew, the second half began. However, the coach's strategy had no effect, and the score was quickly extended to 4-0 by the opponents. At this point, there was a fierce collision between players from both teams. The opponents were forced to remove a player due to a foul. Worst of all, they had no substitutes. Nick suggested to the coach that David, who was waiting outside, be brought on as a substitute. The coach reluctantly agreed. With this small man bringing a surprise to the team, David was mocked mercilessly by the opposing players even before he entered the field. But once the game started, they were all stunned. David broke through the defense at lightning speed and scored a goal. This restored the confidence of all his teammates. And, like Messi possessed, he scored again with a perfectly timed header. The score was now 4-2, but it wasn't over yet. David used a perfect tackle to perform a bicycle kick in front of the goal. The ball sailed into the net in a beautiful arc. He changed the score to 4-3. The opponents began to panic. The next second, David found another opportunity and perfectly passed the ball to Nick, who was in an excellent position. Nick scored with a powerful shot, tying the game. There wasn't much time left in the game. The opponents became increasingly impatient. They committed a serious foul while defending against Nick in front of the goal and were awarded a penalty kick. At this moment, Nick trusted David implicitly and handed the penalty kick opportunity to him. This was the only chance. If he couldn't score, the match would go into extra time. His teammates had no fighting spirit left, but David did not disappoint. He scored with an extremely tricky angle. The final whistle blew. David led the team to victory with his absolute strength and proved himself to everyone. After this match, David was recognized by the coach and invited to join the team. He finally became an official player. It seems that this man, though small in stature, possesses the energy of a great leader. It also teaches us that we must never judge a book by its cover.